The old timer down here is a Bearcat 785D Delta. And this was one of the first ones that would allow you to have a monitor P25 and stuff, but you had to purchase the extra unit to do that, and it was not cheap. And trying to find one of those now is next to impossible. So Howard and I have had a lot of fun comparing notes on these things. And then he also brought the SDS 100. And then I brought along an older unit, which is the BC 396T. And let me give you some just quick information here. The SDS 200 is $700. The 536 is $650. The BC 785D is no longer available new, but I've seen them down at Puyallup quite a few times in various states of good condition and not so good condition. So they're still available. The SDS 100, the portable, this guy here, $650. The BC 396T, no longer available new. And there is one other one that I did not have, and it's called the Home Patrol 2, which is $462 from Scanner World. And the reason that Howard and I like the units that we have, with the exception of the 396, this guy, and this guy down here, the 785, is in the old days, this one right here, I had to go in there and program every RF frequency that was in the talk group. Then I had to go in there and identify each channel by its number, which is a 5-digit number. And you had to do that. And man, that just got real old. But once they're in there, they're in there. The nice thing about the SDS 200, the SDS 100, and the Home Patrol unit is you go in there to the unit itself and you can program your zip code. You plug in your zip code and there's a database that's in there that downloads all the different radio services in your area in that zip code. And then you can go in there and later on you can kind of create favorite lists and all that kind of stuff. And the Home Patrol 2, the original version, that was the original via zip code programmable scanner. And the other way you can program your units is through GPS. There's a GPS antenna that will fit on the 200 and the 536. And you plug that in, it picks up, and then it will do the exact same thing, just like you plugged in your zip code. And the nice thing about that, if you do the GPS, if you are a traveling person, like when Donna and I go out traveling, sometimes I'll go ahead and throw on my GPS antenna in there. And as I move through different counties and stuff, it just automatically tracks. And it's really a nice kind of a deal. So Howard, do you have any other thoughts about kind of the overall picture of what we've been doing here?
That was a good overview. I think that just one thing to note, that they can use different types of antennas. And for instance, I have here, you can't see it online, but there's a disc cone antenna that I use for one of my scanners, which is a wide frequency scanner. And then these each have, actually we have different types of antennas on ours. That makes it really useful.
Yeah, the one that I have on this one right here, scanner, is or Howard, is a 800 megahertz specific, and it makes a difference on the ability to receive 800 frequencies like the Eastside Fire and Duval Fire use.
Yeah.
But that disc cone antenna, a heck of a rig, and they make the disc cone antennas that Howard's got up here, and it's too bad we can't see it, but they actually put on the top that you can see here, gentlemen, a tunable unit, so you can actually transmit on 6 meters with it. I have one of those at home, and I have it set up for 52.525, the 6 meter calling frequency, and it's like 1-to-1, and you just adjust the radiators, and it works very well, and it's a heck of a scanner antenna.
That's a great scanner antenna.
The one disadvantage is there is no gain. But as long as it's outside, and because especially if you listen to 800 megahertz around here, all these mountaintop repeaters up there, that's not a big deal.
And you will poke your eyes.
Yes, you will. Now, the other nice thing about this, this unit here, and the SDS 100 like Howard's got over here, is you can go in there and regularly update the firmware of the radio and the software. And it's a real simple thing to do. And I'm going to attempt some screenshots to show you what things look like. And Kurt's going to have to help me find the share screen on this guy here.
Right in the middle. The other green.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And you can either share your whole screen or you can just share it if you have an app open.
Okay. Okay, can you see my mouse wiggling around here?
No. No, I can see it. Actually, share.
Okay, I thought I did. We'll go back to Zoom.
Yeah.
Going on.
Click over there.
Oh, okay. That guy right there, right?
Oh, you must have accidentally clicked that. The video camera.
So what do I do?
Yeah,
Sorry about this, guys.
Click the
This,
right here.
this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's spinning.
It better not be updating.
I don't think so. It just started spinning.
Is it rigged?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
No,
Okay.
All right, now do share screen.
It's gotta be just charged or something.
Share.
Yeah, it does.
Now you're sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you see I'm wiggling over something that's called BCDX right here. That is the Uniden site that you go to get the latest database information. And what you'll do is you'll go here and eventually it'll pop up and it says, it starts looking for it. So you go to update. And then you can see it, and now it's loading up all the users, all the top groups, all the frequencies and all that kind of stuff. And then you can see that some of my rigs up there have some cables plugged into them. And then you will plug them into the radios to do the updates. And it only takes a few minutes, and it's real easy to keep up to date with all the different things in there. And let's see, find the 200. Well, and then I've got a cheat sheet that if there's interest, I'll post it to Groups.io so you guys can get the websites that I have for the BCDX 336 HP and ProScan, which is the next thing we're going to look at. And Howard, do you regularly update your?
I use the Sentinel to do the firmware updates and then ProScan to do it's just easier to use ProScan. It's a better written piece of software.
Okay, so what's really nice about ProScan is in the old days, you had to do basically a scanner specific software, and ProScan has resolved that problem, and you can use all the one set of COM ports to do a whole bunch of different So that's what your screenshot from ProScan looks like. And the other nice thing, and Howard, you can go into a little bit more detail here, is you'll notice on the SDS 200, the top guy here, you see the different color bands that I have chosen to mark the basically the 800 group, which in my case is Seattle, King County. And then NORCOM is the comm center that dispatches for Eastside Fire and Duval. So Howard, do you have anything to add about the ProScan software?
One of the cool things that you can do with ProScan is you can actually hook up your SDS 200, actually both of these units, to the internet and create a channel that someone can surf to. And so you can put the scanner online.
Which Howard did last year.
Yeah, I put NORCOM online.
Yeah. And it's pretty simple. And the other nice thing about it too is you can go online. There's a spot here in the software to look and see who has got their scanner hosted on there. Like the other night, I was listening to Chicago Fire because he had his SDS 200 on there, and I was listening to Chicago Fire. It was kind of cool. Sean.
Does this software support like the SDR dongles?
I
I'm
don't
going
think
to go on
so.
a
I
limb
think
and
it's
say no.
Okay.
it has a drop down list of sort of 20 scanners that it works with.
Take a look here for you, Sir Sean. Maybe. Get out of that.
You got that middle dialog box open. Go down.
Oh, true.
Your control port is open. Now you can do it.
And when you hit the drop down box here, you can look through there and you can see they've got a lot of different units in there, and all of them are look to me as though they are Unidens. I don't see your
Okay.
one. So that's kind of
That would've been
basically
too
what it
good.
looks like. And Howard, I've been doing scanners for years and years and years. And I finally met my match. I, for the life of me, cannot make a favorites list work on the SDS 200 or the 536. So I was hoping maybe you could kind of talk to them what they're for, what
Yeah.
they're good for, and all that kind of stuff.
So I'll go do this. So I actually made a couple of different favorites. So I have my NORCOM, Washington State Patrol. I listen to Redmond. But I also have a portable. I put this in G. And so I programmed this also to scan which one here? I programmed this to scan the ham radio frequencies so that it can quickly just cycle through, let's say, all of our repeaters that we have. So I don't actually have to. So let's say I'm tuned on Cougar, this could monitor 4 other ham channels for me. And if I hear something on there, I can then switch my ham radio if I wanted to talk. So that's sort of cool. I also have this, it's just total entertainment. I have this programmed. Let's see if I can do this. By the way, the folks that develop the interface for these things are engineers. They have no user experience. It's not satisfying. It's completely convoluted.
Can we get the screen to reflect what's from that camera and?
Okay.
Stop sharing.
And
That one's on.
okay, let's see if I can see this without.
But that gives us all a hope of seeing what the heck he's.
This one
Yeah,
here.
just stop share, yeah.
Here you go.
Is there any way that you can
Switch the view.
the SnoVARC channel and the big one?
If I can get this thing over here. Yeah, usually.
Yeah. We appreciate your patience because it's totally new venue for us today. So we had a steep learning curve starting. at
There we
5
go.
o'clock.
Great. Thank you very much.
To get reflectional.
Can you make it smaller?
Can I throw this out?
Hey, John, can I borrow your coffee for a second? I'll get most of it back.
So it's a little hard to see.
Can I
You
borrow
have-
a tea for a minute?
It's really hot tea.
System department channel. So let's say I wanna just focus on NORCOM. So on NORCOM, now I have mine programmed the way I like it. So I have you'll see that it's not scanning the system now. It's fixed on that. And now it's scanning the different departments that I have. So police and fire, and it's picking up NORCOM police, NORCOM fire, which I have programmed it. Several of us are part of what we call the disaster support volunteers that work with Station 45. And I've got mine programmed just like the fire department's handhelds in exactly the way they have it. So the way they have it is they got 2 dispatches, then they've got TAC channels, and they have an admin channel. So I'm scanning it just the way their handhelds are programmed, which is sort of cool.
So these are the handhelds that we actually got training on,
Yes.
right? Okay,
So you could do it 2 ways. You could do the way Tom showed you. I'm trying to figure out here. Okay. Where you just say, here's the zip code, go find everything for the zip code. But I found that to be just like too much stuff and not in the format I wanted. So you go into the software, you can adjust it. You'll notice here, and it's really hard to see on the screen. Let's see if I can see it. Yeah. Let's see it. It's not close, but there are these blinking lights, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. I have air traffic control program. I like to sometimes just turn on, sit at home and listen to air traffic control. It's sort of fun to load the planes over their head. I have it turned off right now, so I can turn it back on using this completely wackadoodle interface that they've got. So there, I've just turned everything off. So I'm going to turn air traffic control on. And now all it's doing is scanning air traffic control. And I can go into different departments and listen to ground control. I could focus on the planes overhead. I could do the same for ham radio, right? So, and I'll just that there, I'm looking at the helicopters. I'll just go turn back on.
you drifted out of the
You're off the screen there.
It's so hard. It's like,
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Just
okay, now I'm scanning both the NORCOM and the aircraft. And it just, rather than having a favorite where you could say NORCOM, right? You got to pick 1.2.3 to select the system department and the channels you're interested in. It's completely ridiculous. And that's probably that's part of why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
So that's sort of cool. And I've got there are SD cards. So I've got all mine programmed the same way, so that when I move from one to the other, there's not a learning curve, right? I know exactly what I get. The only difference is that I've got on my handheld, I got the ham radio channel deactivated. And on my mobile one here, this thing, which is right now set up to work mobile, that's why it's got yeah, it's a real challenge to know which way to pull it. I plug that in and hook it up to my feed. And then down here, I've got the same SDS 200 that
You're doing great.
right? It's the same thing. You see, it's a little easier to see here. So and what's nice is, so I can stop it. You see how it stopped on police? And I can say, okay, just focus on fire. Double click that, and now it's only going to scan NORCOM fire. It's like, right? If I want to just listen to police, I can do that.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay. We need like a stand to do this. Yes. Okay. Really fun stuff too.
And for a radio that receives such a wide range of frequencies, the receiver in it is actually very sensitive and very select for what it does. Howard and as best that I can understand, he and I have not had the issue where we're listening to one of the talk groups on 800, listen to all the other talk groups all over Puget Sound. I've never had that
Yeah.
problem. It seems to do a good job of taking all that other stuff out there and only concentrating on what you want to hear.
One last thing, okay, this is the best antenna I bet. You see this thing, it's like super articulated,
Oh,
Oh, wow.
and so you can fold it down.
what antenna is that?
I love this thing.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so no matter how I'm holding it, there's always an angle to put the antenna.
Smart.
It's really cool. The other thing is, it's hard to see on this, it's got labels, so you can open it up to focus on a particular frequency, or just keep it totally open and it picks everything up.
Where'd you find that?
I'll put a link,
Perfect.
but this is great, the articulation.
Spending our money.
In the pinch, you can do semaphore signaling.
That.
That's amazing to poke your eye out of.
You scanned work on the VHF and the digital.
They work from 30 megahertz up to do this go up to 900, just for 800, it goes up to 800.
Yeah, you do have to buy the stupid software license. It's in here. You gotta go buy the stupid license to open up like,
P25.
yeah, 25. And it's like $90. It's silly. It's already in here. You don't really get much, right? You just like.
No.
So
One of
you
the,
just get a key,
You get a key.
put it in and
one of the features of the ProScan software is you look underneath the scanner that's on the screen up there and you'll see all this information. Every time a signal is received on there, it records the time and the duration and what the talk group, what frequency it came through on. So you can see the talk group 22288 on the frequency of 8554375. That's where that particular talk group came through. And it's really interesting. And if you don't want to look at it, you can just not hook into that. So it's interesting for me, when I'm listening to a working call, I can look on there and get a feel for the fire started in the front of the building at 8 o'clock, but 9 o'clock, it's all the way to the back half of the building. And by looking at the time steer, I can kind of get a good idea of what the thing is doing. Now, Howard had his radio set up in a fashion that he had what's known as the detailed display. And I was going to go try to get that for you so we could see what it looked like. And I've never done this with the software before, but what Howard was showing on the detail display at the very bottom half of his screen, it showed the signal strength, it's called the RSSI, and the battery voltage and the channel name and stuff. And it's really a nice feature to have a good idea of what you're looking at there. And it's just basically an easy way to monitor what's going on there. And very quietly, there's a voice in the background talking right now, but you can see how it's working, and it identifies the talk group and what that talk group name is. So Howard, could you provide just a little bit more information about what you had to do to get this thing online?
Oh, to get it online?
No.
Yeah.
It's not unless it's built for it.
So there's a port here, a network port. I simply connected that to a wireless, I connected to my network, right? And once it's on the same network as the computer, you can very easily just program it, give it an IP address. You just got to make sure it's not, your firewall allows traffic through for this particular address, and the software basically does the whole thing.
Yeah. The software is really good, and they come out pretty regularly with updates to ProScan, and once you buy it, you're good for all the updates. I started out at 12, and they're now up to software version 20.4, I think. So they're always doing stuff, and they're always fixing stuff. And the one time that they had something in there that was really just hosed. It only took them 2 days to go fix that because they got such an onslaught of people complaining about the problem. The other nice thing too is you can sit here and you'll see my pointers going over to these buttons here, and you can, and it's going to make a liar out of me. You watch.
We can't see you.
Oh, I'm not there. Okay. You can actually control the functions of the scanner via the software buttons on the screen. Try to get back to where I was here. Let's try that again. And it did make a liar out of me. It didn't work.
Kurt, if I send you something, you just put this online for people for the antenna.
Yep. I was gonna say, you can just take a picture of it and send it to me, I'll share it.
There you go.
I have a picture of it.
Okay. Yeah, send it to me. If you email it to me, it's faster, so.
You want an email?
So on the front of this radio, the buttons, you can see they're labeled and they have definite different functions. So I'm going to try to do that. Oh, I know I can do this.
So the price of entry here is the
Coming your way.
700 smackers for the scanner plus another 90 to get the P25.
Unless you get the SDS 100, which is a little, they're exactly the same, basically the same interface. It's just smaller and portable. And then but there's then you got to buy the P25 license.
I was talking about the detail mode, and that's what you're seeing down here on this kind of this, I don't know what color that would be, but you can see down there that it's got all the different stuff in there, the frequency, the site number and different stuff. So this is what's called the detail mode. So this is really good scanner software, and I've used the Uniden software specifically for the 396, the little guy that I have here. And then some of the older Unidens I had that was very scanner specific, but now this one software covers all the scanners that I have that are of reasonable new age. So on the cheat sheet that I'll send out to you guys, there's a radio reference, and I think a lot of you guys already know who radio reference is. It talks about public service and commercial frequencies, trunking systems, and there's specific information in ham radio stuff. Then on the software downloads, we've got the Sentinel software on there, and I've got how you can get there, and then the ProScan software for you guys if you ever get interested in this stuff. I'm kind of curious right now, besides Howard and myself, does any of you other guys have any current Bearcat or Uniden scanners?
Bearcat here someplace.
Fred's brother's got a ton of
I have Radio Shack. Yeah, I get a Bearcat in the garage, I think so. It works good.
I got the
Build 95.
It looks like a cool thing to have, but the price.
No digital.
Yeah, the prices are a little prohibitive. Yeah.
Crazy, really. That's what you get.
Now, one thing, guys, if you've got some of the older scanners that do pick up the current 800 megahertz systems for fire and cops, when the new PCERN comes online, ain't gonna work, because the new PCERN is going to be P25 and it's gonna have fancy encodings on it. Fortunately, the SDS 200, 100 and the Pro Home Patrol will automatically go those, but your older ones will no longer receive the new updated 800 megahertz stuff. So just a warning.
I gave Kurt the antenna info on Amazon.
Yeah, I sent that out to the chat. And if you guys want to just, I'll put it up here on the screen.
Cool.
Paste it to group sale.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the little whip antennas that you see here and here do a pretty good job of picking up the 800 megahertz system because there's so many sites.
Well, the Norcom antenna is not too far from us.
Yeah.
Either, yeah.
One of them, yeah. So that basically is the main points of what I and Howard and I wanted to talk about. And we were hoping that you guys would, have some good Q&A for us so we can kind of walk through all this stuff, or if you have something specific that we might be able to try to demonstrate to you.
Can I fix these real quick?
Again,
Can I fix these real quick?
Okay.
You guys are top back and forth. So we're only looking, because right now we're only looking at you.
oh, that's
You're
just
pretty
sad.
at everything, but-
No, that's sad. Now, the little thing that's holding all these scanners in here, I'm trying to remember where I got the darn thing. I think it came from Scanner World. And they come in a 1, a 2, and a 3. And when Donna and I go out traveling in our RVs and stuff, I take this stack with me, and we like to go along the Columbia River all the time. So I'll have one on local fire, one on ham, and one on marine frequencies. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question about that.
Sure.
What's the advantage to having 3 scanners scanning these different bands?
If you're a
As
snoop
opposed-
like I am, that's why you have 3 different ones, so you don't have to. When the barge goes by, but I'm scanning 800 megahertz, I might miss his call to the lockmaster at John Day Dam. But when I have it specifically on there, I can hear him and still listen to the local fire and local ham stuff. It's a nerd thing. How's that?
Yeah, I just,
They just take too long to
It'd
scan.
be more efficient if.
yeah, the issue is that
Radio,
the scanning isn't fast enough to cover all of that stuff
Yeah.
efficiently. It's significantly better to narrow the focus to just the stuff that you want to hear.
That's
So I don't
what I
want all of King County.
Right.
I want just Snow Valley.
That's, or NORCOM, yeah. And maybe just NORCOM 5.
So I don't know what Norcom is. So
NORCOM is the dispatch center for police and fire for our county here, out here,
But not
Specifically,
Duval Police,
but not Duval
Yeah.
Police, no.
which is.
no, because Duval PD gets dispatched out of Redmond.
Redmond.
But you can find them in there somewhere. You just gotta go looking for them.
You gotta look under Redmond spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so, yeah, you're exactly right, because it's scanning, right? It's got to go through it. So I try to narrow it down so it gets through them faster. And then you could just turn things like, it'd be silly to keep air traffic control on and ham and nor, because it's got to scan all of them at this,
Especially with band changes.
Yeah.
So again, questions for Howard and I, because we didn't want to go into just, I bugging out detail on scanning, but and programming, because it's so easy to do with the zip code or the antennas for the, and I've got that.
This can.
I've got what the antennas look like up here somewhere in this mess.
Because they all use a GMRS that then goes to amateur. Okay.
I got the
This-
GMRS channel program too.
yeah, I was
This,
gonna say, surely you have the GMRS.
Yeah.
this is the GPS
That's part of
antenna
my hand.
for the SDS 200, was the 536 and the 100.
Yeah.
What?
This is the GPS antenna.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Use
model
GMRS
is that?
when we're okay.
The GPS antenna?
I figured, I ought to get a license.
Let me see.
Covers all-
I lost
I
the
mean,
antennas
nobody's gonna
in
put
my,
6,000 feet. And nobody's gonna
there it
touch
is.
I think I feel better doing it now. It covers all the guys that can.
This is the model number Bravo Radio dash 355 Sierra 4. Again, Bravo Radio dash 355 Sierra 4, and that's available through the Uniden website.
It's a Uniden product.
Correct. Roland.
I'm trying to formulate my question. So you said in midstream that the P25 is coming out, it's gonna flush all the 800 out. So why do we want to buy anything now before P25 comes out, unless you got a radio that does multiple?
Well, that's what the 200 and the 536 will do. You just have to plug it in so that it will receive the P25. And Howard, I believe, did we have to actually purchase something?
Yeah,
Even though,
well, software line, a key.
Yeah.
For the
It's
NX,
$1,000 to get into it.
yeah,
for
NEX,
NEX, but we don't use that here.
we don't use that, no.
And
I could buy
yeah,
a nice
P25, yeah.
Well, that's the disadvantage because they're so darn expensive.
What does a radio cost? What does the actual scanner?
This guy here is 700. This guy here was,
But yeah, the handheld like 650.
the one below it, Sean, this guy's 635.
Okay.
But my understanding is
RTL SDR. I can get
if what you want is to follow emergency traffic,
RTL SDRs.
unless you have P25, you're just screwed.
No, this is for the new PCERN 800 megahertz that our fire and police units are going to go to here in the next year or two.
Just don't buy an old unit at the
Yeah.
swap meet.
I've got a couple I'll sell you for $1.
Okay,
Now,
Especially if it's
Bear in
liquid
mind-
crystals.
yeah, bear in mind that your old scanners were absolutely going to still be usable for ham. And things like, and some of the older, smaller police departments may not go to the P25 if you're traveling. Around here, they're all beyond, but if you take your scanners with you when you travel, you'll still probably be able to use those. Because not everybody in Washington State's gonna go to the new higher fancier 800 megahertz. Some of them are still operating on VHF and UHF.
Howard, what's a Pro 95? Is that a Uniden? So you remember the old one? It's about probably 10 years old.
Yeah, I don't remember.
What was the number?
Pro
Pro
95.
Sounds like a unit.
There was a 90 and a 95. I've got
Boy,
both of them.
those are old.
Oh,
ones.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
Just to put it in before I got the first one, the scanner I had before that was a Radio Shack 10 channel, and you bought the crystals.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had the tabletop
I actually
one.
love that.
Yeah,
The little LEDs would blink.
yeah. Kathy and I were first married. and lived in
Right,
condominium.
It I wanted to put it in my
That
house.
was our entertainment.
I currently
Didn't have
have
money to do it.
an old Radio Shack 1000 channel scanner that covers 30 to 800 megahertz, including 220. It's a heck of a receiver for the ham bands, and that's primarily what I use it for, is just to scan the ham bands. If you look on it, I'll have SnoVARC in there, and it's a Aquamics Radio Club and East Side Fire Corps, and it goes ripping through there. And surprisingly enough, when the Blue Angels are flying up here during Seafair, it will cover the military aircraft channels, and it's interesting to listen to the guys talking to each other. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, execute, and then they do their bombers. So lots of fun.
Yeah, one of the
They actually.
yeah. One of the fun things that I did was listen to you hear that you could pick up the news helicopters. And so every now and then the police or the news are flying over looking for somebody or something. And that's sort of fun. So, yeah. There's a house that burned in Lake Joy, just outside Lake Joy, that I listened from start to finish. It was sort of
It's real fun is when you get the 737s or the occasional 47 doing laps out here.
And it scares everybody.
Yeah, there's something fun to listen to the air traffic control because they make their change to 24,000 feet right over Duval. And so they're
Right on my house.
yeah.
Yeah. Same, that it's right over everybody's house.
Yeah, it's the Boeing golf tournament. They always come out here and just fly right over the top of my house. And the first year we were out here and they did that, we're going, holy hell. What did we do?
I keep pondering cleaning up my amplifier. It was the antenna just pointed straight up.
Okay, cool.
You program it to listen for your address, you know what to do.
Yes, sure.
We're doing this.
Listen to your name, listen to your social security number, your cell phone number.
And actually, yeah,
Yeah, that's the pro version.
and here comes this.
One of the things that you're supposed to be aware of, not every state in the United States is it legal to own a scanner in your vehicle, but you can have it at home. And the other thing you are not supposed to do by the absolute letter of the law is I'm not supposed to call up Howard and say, Howard, the house across the street from you is on fire. I'm not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to share this information that's very specific to an address or specific to an individual. If I said, Howard, there's a house fire in your neighborhood, that's quasi legal. But if I said at 156,
You're really interested in, turn on your scanner.
Yeah.
That's fine.
How are you? That one I want to know. But if I'm a news helicopter, I'm listening and I then go flying out to Howard's house.
And put it on TV.
that would be a good.
Howard, grab your portable and turn it on. Quick, get out of that.
Grab the portable and run out the front door.
Get out the front.
As police, I've worked in a dispatch space, so as police departments move more into mobile computers in the vehicles, a lot less traffic on the air now.
Yes.
A lot less traffic on the air.
Spillman.
Well, Spillman's one of, I'm on the bigger end of that, but Spillman's part of it.
My wife made a comment the other day. We were watching Cops and one of those slow nights, nothing was on. And this guy's going down a road on a pursuit like this.
I have been in a car
And I'm thinking
going down the road
that's
in a 2-lane. Laptop.
Your cell phone,
Yeah, no, they just straight one hand on the keyboard, one hand on the steering wheel and looking down the road and he's.
Well, you forgot to tell me the other one.
Interesting channel is the
No, he's not, well, not when I was in the car.
Warrant.
Yeah. So they have a channel where they call in for warrant checks.
yeah.
That's a good one to listen to.
Yeah, no, they some
So-
departments use big buttons on us.
And you get full names. I mean, there's all,
But
it's
these guys are.
date of birth, her name.
That's
Yeah,
distracting.
so.
I don't care what
My
they say.
question is more, there's some flooding, an earthquake, whatever. I turn on a scanner. How quickly and how easy is it to develop a picture of what's happening?
Well, that's like you said, like your top fires, just listening to
I mean, you know, you just got to sit
45
there in your city council, the
surrounding.
kitchen.
So you.
Pretty fast.
That's because you're also in the ambulance.
Yep.
So you know where they're going. And then if you,
digital.
actually, I do that because I don't really need the police to, once you get the
What
fire.
do you got?
Right, the police are way, they're pulling people over and stuff, but
Yeah.
but the,
Six.
yeah, so it was
Yeah, I got
like just house fire and Lake Joy.
pretty close to.
Because it was,
But
Well, for those of you who are on Zoom,
you
do
know,
any of you have any questions? If so, put your hand up so we can see you here. Larry?
Yeah, have you used any of the mobile or the smartphone apps for any scanners? Anybody know good ones like that? If we want to just kind of, I use one called 5-0 radio. And it lets you pick your area and you can then select and listen into like King County fire. It doesn't seem to have everything, but of course it wouldn't work necessarily in a emergency if the cell phone towers were down.
Yeah, I actually have one on here. I'm trying to find it quickly for you here. And it doesn't do too bad, but sometimes they incorporate an area versus a specific department. And it's very annoying. But yeah, there are a number of different scanner programs available via apps, and I'm looking for the one I have here. Yeah. Yeah, the one I use is Scanner Radio. And then what was that one, Larry?
5-0, that's what I got.
Okay. And they do pretty good. They'd actually do pretty good.
So
But yeah,
how
that's-
fast do they scan through a set of frequencies? Do you have a set that's say
Yeah.
100 frequencies to check.
On my particular setup and Howard's too, we scan 12 Norcom channels, dispatch, the hailing channel, and then 10 tactical channels. And then there's the ones like Duval admin, Issaquah admin,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So it'll go through 12 channels at a pretty
I don't know
good
what the
rate.
feedback is there.
But if you
Well, so it's DMR, right? So how many of those are frequencies
No,
versus?
we are not DMR yet,
They're all each have.
not yet.
It's just VHF.
But it does have
It's
the
just-
branching,
so
so
it's-
it does, you know, like the fire does use different, right? It picks the chat, it picks the frequencies channels for you in the scanner.
Right, because
Yeah.
it's all
Right.
trunk, so.
Trunk.
Okay.
So it does,
So it just entangles the trunking for you. You don't have to.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct.
because if you go on your ham radio and scan the same frequencies, it's all.
Yeah.
not together.
There's a transmission
Yeah.
on one
then
frequency
it's-
and the response.
So when you're,
Somebody-
yeah, so when you're scanning a trunking protocol like that, you just have to, what are you actually scanning?
The control channel.
The control channel?
Yeah,
Okay.
when
It just
Howard
control
and
channel constant and pulls up the.
Yeah.
The ones that are
what happens
channels
is
that are active.
there is a data channel on there that is communicating with all the different repeater
Right.
sites in the county. And then it chooses the best signal and routes it to what that data channel thinks is the best site for that particular mobile user. And these rigs do that for you. We don't
Right.
have to. mess
No, I
with
get
it.
that. I'm just trying to, I'm, you know, as I'm thinking through it, everything you're scanning through. From a frequency perspective, it seems less than what. In order to find where things are, and then you just follow the trunk.
It's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, okay,
And then
software that does it with a pair of SDRs.
yeah,
Ryan, if you went to a frequency, let's say it was just 852.00000. If you lock your scanner or your receiver on that, you will hear traffic on it.
Right.
But you might hear a Redmond cop, then there's a Kirkland cop, then there's a fire engine. So you'll hear stuff on
I
it.
know how to use the two SDRs to.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. It's doing it. And that's
It's
the
the
same
same
thing
thing.
for license. though.
Yeah,
It's the same thing, just a
it's
different.
a bevy of SDRs
Yeah.
that it uses to disentangle all the trunking and everything.
Well, the
Correct.
200 and the 100, they are SDRs essentially.
Yeah, right.
I had to smile. I just pulled 50 up the app on the phone. And my favorites are get it is when I'm over there, Kittitas County Fire, Yakima City Fire Police EMS. So when there's fires over there in December, I want to know what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
So I got in there and all I do is scan those and just see what's going and what's progressed and stuff like that.
And obviously, Jens, the applications are a whole heck of a lot cheaper. than the radio.
Well, and you also don't need to be there. Like you actually have to pick up the frequency. You would pick it up from those.
Right.
So, I mean, that's an advantage.
Yeah, if I'm over here, I still want, what's going on?
Yeah.
Gonna have a cabin?
Website's still free.
Right?
My favorite scanner app was back in the, must have been mid-2000s. Somebody put up a website. And they were scanning cordless phones in this small town in Canada. Broadcasting it to the world.
Oh, lovely.
We knew everything going on in that little town.
I do remember that. That was hilarious.
What was it called? Party line?
Something like that, yeah.